So we're going to look at some very basic pattern adjustments. This in itself, pattern adjusting, is a course, and there's a lot of information. So there will be future videos or more videos around this area, but I'm going to talk you through the very, very basic pattern adjustments that you can do to help a garment fit you when you first start sewing. So we have spoken about the sorts of information you will find in packets. Another really useful bit of information that tends to be overlooked is this part, which is normally printed on the tracing paper element of your patterns. So this is actually explaining how to taper between different pattern sizes and where those balance points are. So it is really worth noting, if you do have this information as part of your pattern, do dig it out, have a good read of it, and it will help you to taper between the patterns. That said, I'm now going to just show you a little bit of basic adjustments. So I'm going to focus on two. I'm going to look at lengthening and shortening, and I'm going to look at tapering. So I'm gonna now work on just one piece here, okay, and it's a bodice piece, and the reason why I'm working with that to illustrate tapering is because it has those quadrants. So this is your first quadrant, this as your second, this is your third. So this line here, called the balance line, is your bust one, waist balance line, and hip balance line, and these were all identified on this pattern. So what I'm going to do is just really deliberately draw those in so you can see where I'm working. Okay, so that's your hip one there. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and 3. Now, if we go back to the information that's in the packet, you can see 1, 2, 3, and this will be telling you how you can taper between those sizes. So I'm going to use an example where you might have to taper to a larger waist. So let's assume that this person we're tapering to has a size 6 bust, a size 10 waist, and a size 14 hip. What we will do is we'll take our pattern master that I've previously spoken about. These are really useful because these lines mimic the curvature of your pattern. So we want to basically taper between bust to waist, waist to hip, okay, because those are the different measurements that you have taken. So if we're measuring from a dart point, what we want to do, if we're tapering from a dart point, we do not want to taper above or between the dart. We want to start at the bottom of the dart, and the reason why is because this line will get sewn to that line, which means that that will already be factored into the to the bust equation. So we're going to take that dart point, which is here, and we're going to taper from there. So that's size 6 on the dart. We're going to taper down to size 10. Okay, so we're widening this pattern. And essentially what you can do is find the line, mimic the line on your pattern master, and we're just going to quickly adjust it, and we're going to use a pencil, or in this case a friction pen, to redraw that line. Okay, now we're going to then continue to expand to a size 14 hip. Okay, so I'm going to take that measurement and the pattern master, and bring that up. Okay, and you can see that we have adjusted the pattern to taper between multiple sizes, and it doesn't always have to go from small to big and go from big to small. You just need to try and mimic those lines. The other thing I would just say about tapering is that quite often you'll notice that there are little points of in pattern instruction that need to be factored in. So what you should do is find the center line of all of those points and replicate it on the pattern. Okay, so in this instance you can see that your notch would want to be there. So if I just coloured that one in, you can see that that notch will be there. And in here, this is slightly more complicated. What you want to do is, if this isn't sitting on the line, what you want to do is replicate the distance between this dot and this dot, okay? And you want to reposition it there, okay? So basically, the distance between here and here is the same distance between here and here. And that there becomes your new tailor tack mark line for this particular pattern. So this takes a little bit of practice, but it is quite logical when it comes to tapering.